Hey, welcome back to the channel. My name is Eric, and I thought we'd touch on a few different subjects today. First one being what you probably don't know about typical shop owners, whether it be your, local repair shop, an automotive, small engine, your grocery stores, the ones that are still independently owned. And I was also asked if I could go a little bit further on how does, going on and getting a college degree, is that a help or a hindrance to my business that we have here? And then lastly, kind of like what is going on with our customers, and as far as like trying to fix their own stuff because there's less disposable income. See, we as shop owners, if you're invested in your community, you have to invest in your community because your community is going to take care of you. So you need to take care of them. And when I say that, it's not about the money. So many people get into business thinking it's all about the money. And if you're chasing money, you might as well go play the stock exchange. Because most of the money that shop owners and local businesses have is what they call sweat equity. And that is they put in a lot of hours, and they go quite a few years with no vacations. And everything is riding on their shoulder. But they're doing it because they're looking down the road saying, okay, in 10 years this will be paid for. In 30 years the mortgage will be paid for. That's what you call sweat equity. They're not getting cash in hand, but they're gaining in assets over time. Or at least that's the way it's supposed to be. Real estate. That's probably the biggest place that they have sweat equity. It's where I have it. The biggest thing you want to do as a shop owner is get out of debt as quickly as you can. Plain and simple. Debt is not bad. It's all in how you go about it. You have to have a way for income coming in to pay that debt. If you go by a local dealership, I don't care if it's a car dealer or a lawnmower shop that is selling lawnmowers, riders, and so forth, and their yard is littered with them, all brand new, different models. They had to go into debt to get those units on the premise. And it's called floor planning. I mean, we've talked about this before, and if you don't know what floor planning is, it means if you're going to floor plan with Cub Cadet, there's a number of different levels. And the higher level you go, the more units you get, the more mowers, the more snow blowers, the more. And once you sign up, it usually goes to like a GE credit. And they will lend you the money using the lawnmowers as collateral. Used to be, when floor planning was taking place, the manufacturers would place the units on your property, and then as you sold them, you gave the money and then you retained the profits on selling that unit. But as it was being sold, that money had to go back to the manufacturer for the cost of that unit to be replaced. Same thing with cars. They used to floor plan and have so many cars, and then after, paying interest after so many months sitting there. But that's changed because now with GE Finance, GE Credit, when in regards to the lawnmower business and stuff, you're buying X number of units. You're not putting them onto the property. You have to physically buy them. So now you're in debt for every unit you have on your premise. The good thing is that it gives you a wide variety to sell to your customers. The bad thing is if you don't sell every one of those units every fiscal year, you have to take that many more units. So if you got 30 to start with, you sold 10, you're stuck with 20 carryovers from the year before. Now you got 30 more coming in, whether it be lawnmowers, snow blowers. So you just got to be careful when you guys doing floor planning, that you don't get caught into where you're stuck with a bunch of units. That I know some of the friends of mine that are in that, I stayed away from it, but they'll discount their units down to even what they paid for them just to get them off their property and get that debt paid off every year so that they have a clean slate to start the following year. Investing in your community. I mentioned that before. As shop owners, we understand that if it wasn't for the community, we wouldn't be here. And most shop owners and most local businesses do stuff with their local community. We reach out. And some of the ways that you can reach out in your community, if you're a shop owner and you have yet to do this, is we have a couple of different things that we do here at the shop that I do. We have one is charity, but it's not charity. We know some of our customers do not have much money. They may be just simply on Social Security and no pension, no nothing. We have one guy, he makes $695 a month. His home is paid for. We do their service, we do his service on his lawnmowers and help him keep his machines running at zero cost. If we know one of our customers is going through a hard time, we'll eat it. If we have customers that need to pay overtime, we'll do it. And on top of that, I know what you're thinking right now. Well, if I get paid overtime, then I can't pay my bills. And that's true to an extent. We don't have a lot of them that pay overtime, but we understand that if they have to pay overtime, it's better than getting no money. Other places that you can do are, like, for our shop, we offer 2 different scholarships to one of the local high schools for seniors going on to college. And the way to do that would be just simply getting a hold of your guidance counselor at your local school system and saying you have an interest in doing a couple scholarships. It hasn't got to be big money. I think the scholarships start out at $50 and sky's the limit, but we topped it off at $200. So The other place is helping out food pantries. Yeah, a lot of local businesses and shop owners are doing this stuff, and they're not doing it to be rewarded. They're doing it because they wanted a sense of community. The other place to look is your local churches. We have a local church. It's a Methodist church that for Thanksgiving they take donations and buy turkeys for people, turkey and the whole meals. It's all in the thing. Ready to go for people that can't afford to get the money to get the meal. And they know the community better than anybody. And they put together baskets. They call it baskets. And to a lot of older folks, they deliver. We help out with that. And my wife and I, what we did was, like for Christmas, instead of getting each other presents, we on a personal side take the money that we would have done for presents and donate to the local church, to food pantries and doing the baskets. The only way you're going to succeed in your community is to help your community. Don't go doing it because you think you're going to get great rewards, unless it's to feel better. I feel good about doing those things. A lot of times I'll tell them, like with the food pantry and the turkeys and all that stuff, that this is anonymous, because we're not looking for anything from other than doing the right thing. But that's probably a thing that most of you didn't know about most shop owners and local businesses, is that we do help our community, because we understand that we need our community to help us. And if our community isn't being taken care of, then there's no way they can help us. All right, so a number of you guys in the comments had asked about, could I go in further on with my going on to college and how it relates to the business. Was it good, bad, or ugly, or a hindrance? I'll start off by saying, when I worked for a mining company, great company, I was working on what they call a 2700, which is 2,700 feet below the ground. And it was a fluke incident, no fault of mine or the company's, but we had the ceiling cave in on me and my machine. The end result was I was a very lucky person. I accepted those hazards because I knew that they were there. Mining is one of the most deadly jobs you can be in because you can't protect yourself 100%. But I ended up with spinal fusion here, 4 discs in my back, and then shoulder reconstruction. While I was going through that, being laid up, I just couldn't sit still. And Besset, I think, was the name. But it was to help disabled people go back to college and get a degree. And they were fabulous. I mean, they helped me get my books, they paid my tuition, they paid everything, even my travel. They accommodated me in classes, because I could only sit for so long and then stand, and But the college and the vested group, they were all fantastic. They treated me great. But it was for a 2-year degree. So I had a 2-year degree in computer information systems. And it was just basic. You did some programming, but most of it was working hands-on, building the computer from the ground up, tearing it apart, troubleshooting it, and so forth. But they had just gotten a bachelor's degree curriculum together as I was finishing up my 2-year degree. And my wife said, you should go for it. And I said, yeah, but, financially, she said, I don't care. I said, you should go for it. You got your 2-year degree, let's see what you can do for a 4-year. And I was also doing this because I wanted to show my kids that it's never too late to go back to school. I'm constantly learning. I do not know hardly squat. So I ended up getting student loans and stuff like that to do another 2 years. And it ended up being, I graduated with honors with a 4-year degree in IT. Far advanced over the 2-year. While we were finishing up my bachelor's degree, the last year I formed a company, an incorporated business. And it was web development, doing websites, server administration. We had servers located in 3 different states. We were hosting the websites on our servers, and we were working on developing apps in the early days. And what I saw was that we were already doing e-commerce platforms for customers, getting them set up. And I saw how that could relate to small engine repair, that we were just starting that business, a friend of mine and I. He was a mechanic. And while we were trying to grow the repair shop business the first year, which was slow because nobody knew we were there, I was looking at what can I do on the other end of it for the IT side. And that was build a custom platform, e-commerce, to sell to everybody anywhere in the world. And I did. Now, granted, for most shop owners and stuff, they could not afford to pay someone like me to come in and do that within their first few years. You'd have to be established. And getting a website like that, you're up in $8,000 to $30-some grand to really do it right. But what I did was I started getting into with the repair shop and then needing parts, and I was ordering parts. I'm like, well, wait a minute. Let me see what I can do to connect the 2 dots. So I took the databases of all the parts from each distributor that we had, and even the aftermarket companies. And each one of them I had to format to be uploaded to a different venue, because each venue had their own way to upload. So I did that. And I was one of the few first into the market. We had little to no competition. And we were selling at list price plus shipping. And for you guys that are older, the early days of eBay was kind of like a Craigslist. And it gradually got to the point of where, you put something up, they buy it, they send a check to you. Once you get a check, then you send the item to them. It's evolved a lot since then, but my education and the business side of it rewarded me twofold. Meaning, the money that we made by doing that paid for my bachelor's education, And it also allowed us to grow to the point where we were doing really, really well. So how does that relate to what should you go on to college or trade school, or it depends on what you want to do. If you strictly want to just turn wrenches, there's a lot of trade schools out there that I would highly recommend. And if you want to be the business owner, there's also degrees out there. While getting my bachelor's degree, I took a lot of business courses as well. How to run a business, how to handle money, how to borrow money. So that is also an added plus. But when I tell you that it's a good investment to go on to college, it is depending on what aspect you're hoping to get back from it. You need to know what you want, I guess is the best question. Do you want to be an independent shop owner with no employees? You're just going to do repairs? Are you going to be an independent shop owner with a number of employees? Are you going to be the mechanic? You need to decide what it is you want to be and what it's supposed to look like. And then from there, you can make the determination of whether getting a further education is worth it. For me, it was. Yes, absolutely. And if I had to do it all over again, I'd do the same thing. All right, so that brings us to customers with less disposable income. And I can give you an example just yesterday. We do a lot for seniors. We're seniors, but we get a lot of calls every year, do their service work and stuff like that. And one of our regulars had passed away last year. Really nice guy. But now his wife was there and she had less disposable income because he was not getting his Social Security coming in. So she had less to pay bills and so forth. So we didn't get that call this spring to come work on our lawnmower, to do the service work for him. We get a call yesterday. Could you please come up and help me? My push lawnmower tire won't move, and I think I'm going to have to need my lawnmower serviced, the rider. So when we got up there, she had her phone looking at a YouTube video trying to figure out how to fix the front plastic tire on her push mower. See, I think a lot of people are doing that. YouTube is not the demise of repair shops. If money is tighter, inflation is higher, everything is higher, then you have to figure out how to spend your money to get the best bang out of your buck. And sometimes, for some people, it's not letting other people do the work for them. They're trying to do it themselves. So, yeah, a lot of people are trying to fix stuff themselves, but it's not because of the shop owner. It's because they have less disposable income. So that takes you back to being part of your community. You need to know these things. And you need to know when to give a helping hand back into your community. All right, so on that note, I'll catch you guys on the next video. Thanks so much for watching.